You are now tuned into Native Collect.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Legacy Blueprint, where we talk to people that have not only achieved success, but they are building a blueprint for a long-lasting legacy for themselves as well as those around them. My name is Kayla Wanakee, and I'm so happy to be with you all today. We have an incredible guest here. We have a young man that has not only achieved success, but he has chosen to take his skill set and pour into the next generation of government contractors. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Fox Wade. How you doing today, Fox?
I'm doing fabulous.
I'm genuinely excited for today because when I tell you I know nothing about government contracting, I know nothing other than what I've seen on your social media, and I've tried to understand it on my own, but I think I need a little direction. So I'm really excited to get into it today, to talk a little bit about it, and also find out a little bit about you and the man behind the business. So here at Legacy Blueprint, powered by Native Collective, we always have the question of where are you from? Now, me and you are from the same native town, okay? So can you tell us a little bit about where we're from and how that has contributed to Fox?
Okay. Before I answer that, I want to say thank you so much for, having me on.
Absolutely.
That was a fabulous introduction. I was
Listen,
like, whoa, we talking about
saying.
me? All right, okay. All right. So I'm a native of Flint, Michigan, North Side, raised Weatherby Street, Mason Street, Martin Luther King, right? I remember, growing up down the street from a store called D&H, right?
Yeah.
Which we used to call dead headquarters because there was always a shooting or somebody getting robbed or killed every damn day up there. So I'm from, Flint, Michigan, raised on the North Side, grew up extremely poor.
Yeah.
Okay. And, as we get into the crests of government contracting, it all started, I was on government assistance growing up.
Wow. So when I think of government contracting, I guess I never even thought about government assistance falling under that. So if we can kind of just jump right into how does government assistance fall under government contracting? Like, where is that contract based and where is it coming out of?
Gotcha. So let's talk about the WIC program, right? The WIC program stands for Women and Children.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a dedicated, funded program to help out women with children, let's just say single parent mothers, right, who have low income, but they need assistance from the government. So they have a specific program that's funded all the way up from the federal, all the way down to your local and state jurisdictions. And they provide what? I mean, I grew up in a WIC program. They had the powdered eggs. They had the government cheese. We used to make jokes about that as a kid.
Not the regular cheese, but the government cheese.
The government cheese, right?
Yes.
But all that stuff came from a company who supplied it to the government. So the government, they don't have manufacturing facilities. The government don't have farms that's producing these type of substance. So they have to pay companies in order to provide those type of materials to be distributed to people who are part of the program.
Okay, so break down what is government contracting? Like just overall, what is that?
Got you. So government contracting is where companies, corporations, nonprofits, you name it, right? They are in partnership with government agencies. So government agencies have four main things, right? They have a mission, they have goals and objectives, they have a vision, and they have a budget. So, for example, the Department of Motor Vehicles, right? Just by you not even going to their website, what is their mission? Their mission is to provide, a license to the end user, which is us, the citizen, to manage registration for vehicles, admissions, you name it, right? So that's their mission. So with me as a business owner, I understand their mission, but I understand that they're going to need support. So they're going to need the pens, the paper, and computer systems. They're going to need people that can help out with processes, all those different things. Because the government, if you look at them, they're not a manufacturer. They don't make pens and paper,
Right.
right? They got to get it from somewhere. So they contract with people to be able to provide those type of products.
Wow. This whole time I just assumed like somebody just went to the store and just picked it up and just brought it in. But there's actually a contract for that in every department, in every part of government.
That's correct. So every agency has a procurement department. So it may be a team of people, it may even be one person, but that person is in charge of finding out what companies can provide X, Y, and Z, right? So let's say that the government wanted to do a podcast, okay? Number one, y'all know people who work at the government.
Right.
They don't know anything about this stuff, right?
Right.
So their job is to say, okay, procurement, I need for you to go out into the market and I need for you to find me some companies, some vendors that can help us facilitate this podcast, right? We got a budget, but I need for you to do it. It's the same thing if you need work done in your house, right? What do? You like, I need to go find a general contractor, but I'm not going to go off the first quote. I'm going to go off of 3 quotes. Same thing with government contracting. They're doing a contract between you and them to be able to facilitate that podcast.
Wow. So how did you learn about this? Because being on WIC, you didn't think, I'm sure, like, oh, who made this powdered milk and who made this cheese and how did it get to this manufacturer? Like, how did you even find out about government contracting in the first place?
Well, number one, I got to thank God for making me just extremely different, right? As long as I can remember, I've just always been different. I've always looked at the world and be able to break. I always said I had like an engineering brain, but it was like an alien engineering brain, if that makes sense. So like when I was in the military, so I joined the military at the age of 18. And I don't want people to look at me like, oh, thank you for your service, because I wasn't a patriot when I joined. I was like, I ain't got nowhere else to go. I'm about to be on homeless, I mean, I was already homeless at the time.
Wow.
So I was like, let me go, do something with my life because I don't know anything about college. I had these scholarships to go play basketball, but college kind of scared me because I didn't have nobody there to kind of like say, oh, no, son, this is what you do. I was just like, I don't know. I just don't know what to expect. And so I joined the military at 18. 9/11 happened, so I found myself in Afghanistan at a very young age going, I didn't know Afghanistan existed.
Yeah.
So being in Afghanistan and then transitioning over to Iraq the next year because we had kicked off the Iraq invasion as well, I just remember just looking at the whole entire invasion from the process of here's all these vehicles, right? All these Humvees, these tanks, aircraft, and then you're sitting on a base and you got pallets of water. And in my head at that age, I was like, where the hell are they getting all this stuff from?
Yeah.
But the one thing stood out to me was that there were names on every single thing. And it didn't say United States Army. It said Northrop Grumman. It said this company. The water said Nestle. And I'm like, the products are not, the military or the government is not making it, they're buying it.
Yeah.
So going through that whole process, I want to say like my 4th deployment to Iraq, I went to Iraq so many times. So my 4th deployment to Iraq, I had met a guy and he used to come by our, they call them CHUs, combat housing units, is where we lived at, right? Over time, the military got a little bit sophisticated. You had your own little rooms and stuff. And so he would come by. We would take our trash out of our rooms and we would stick it outside. And this guy was on like a 4-wheeler. He'll drive by pulling a trailer and he will pick your trash up. And one day, me being friendly, I was like, hey, man, how you doing? Get to talk to him. And I said, how much do you make, if you don't mind me asking? How much do you make just picking up people's trash? And he said, my base is $90K, but I make an additional $60,000 by being in this combat zone.
Oh, wow. Because he's not a part of the military.
He's not a part of it. He's a
Got it.
civilian that's on a contract.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. Man, I make $60,000 in the military and I got to go get blown up every night going out on mission.
Yeah.
And he makes triple what I make and he's out here just picking up my trash. So I did a little bit more digging, found out that he worked for this company called Mantech was the name of the company. A company called Mantech. And then I found out that they had a a $240 million contract to provide services to the base support. And so these people thinking that, oh, I'm making $160,000 a year by being over here, they're like, I'm making good money. Because a lot of them, I mean, if you picking up people trash, what background you think they probably come from?
Exactly.
So I come to find out that for each person that the company had supplied to pick up trash, they were charging the government or the United States Army or whoever had the contract, I mean, whoever was facilitating the funds, they were charging $300,000. The government was paying them $300K, and they found somebody who can do it for $160.
Wow.
And everything else was just pure profit, $140K profit. Now I'm thinking to myself, the CEO of the company ain't here in Iraq.
Yeah.
They
That
somewhere in the
part.
United States.
That part.
So they're dispatching people, basically staff augmenting people to go do the work over here while their company is making $140,000 of profit a year off of that one person.
And the government's not questioning that. Like, they don't know the books. They just know
No.
the main contract is $300,000, and you do whatever you want to do.
No.
with it.
That's one person. The contract is 200 plus million. But the government understands that companies have to make money.
Yes.
It's in their framework. So they understand that, no, this company is going to make a profit because in order to be in business, you got to have a bottom line, make profit.
Absolutely.
So their budget is, we understand that, yeah, listen, you get the work done. We'll pay you $300K for it. You get the work done.
Yeah.
Now, however, how you outsource it, make sure you bring on the right person, and what you pay them, pay them. And it dawned on me that when you have a job, what happens in that job, right? Let's say you find a job, whatever, and you get an interview, whatever. The next step is you get an offer letter, right? What is that company doing? They're negotiating your hourly rate or your salary. Why is that? Right? Because they already got their budget. Like, hey, my budget for this is $200K. And you and I negotiating, you're like, listen, I want 110 for this because of my credentials. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. We'll give you 110. Now I'm charging 200. I'm paying you 110. I get the pocket 90.
Yes.
That is the world of capitalism.
Absolutely. So skip the middleman. You want to go for the main. That's what you were doing.
That's right?
Okay.
As a primary contractor with the government. Now, there's nothing wrong with subcontracting unless you know your numbers. You know your numbers. So I saw that, and so after I asked that guy that, I was like, okay, but it didn't hit me just yet. So now I get injured in the military in Western Iraq. I recovered from my injuries and decided that I'm like, okay, all right, I done got, wounded in combat. I done had enough of this, y'all.
Yeah.
And so I medically retired from the military. Worked a couple government jobs because that's all I knew. So I worked at FEMA. This is the changing point in my life right here. Mm-hmm. So I worked at FEMA.
Describe to everybody what
the Federal
FEMA
Emergency
is.
Management Agency. They provide the support for if there's a hurricane, natural disaster, or technological disaster, right? Yeah. They just provide the support. That's their goal. So I'm working there. Now, the job that I'm working in, I'm thinking I'm doing good. I'm making $85K a year, taking care of my family. I'm in the DMV, right? Living paycheck to paycheck. Like, yeah, we good, right? So.
And question, with working with FEMA, you were contracted out to be the person to bring the supplies, or were you just handing them out on behalf of FEMA?
I wasn't doing that part.
Okay.
I was in charge of funding and FEMA. So there's different components of a government agency. So you got people who are on the ground, and you got people in the back, doing the back office stuff, right? Making sure the funds are getting distributed.
Got it.
So I had an opportunity came across, because I used to approve grants and approve contracts.
Okay.
So I had one came across my desk, and I'm approving all the time, but it's a job, and all government people, you employ, it's a job. Mm-hmm. So one came across my desk, and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. It said, we're going to give this company $2.7 million to install smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in people's homes, low-income family homes in West Virginia. And I'm like, $2.7 million to what?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, hold up. So I got it. I went to my manager, and I'm like, you want me to approve of this? I said, how do we even know that they're actually doing the work?
Right.
He was like, we don't know. We just got to go off of their word that they're trusting when they submit their reports that they're doing it. And I was like, yeah, I'm on the wrong side of the coin.
Yeah.
I resigned that night.
Wow.
Put in my notice. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to bet on me because I'm like, if y'all giving out this type of money, then you paying me $85K, and then after taxes, I'm really getting about 55 because I'm in a DMV.
Yeah.
So my take home is 55K for the year, and you doing 2.7. Nope. So I resigned, went home. I was married at the time. Told my wife, she was very unhappy about that decision.
Yeah.
And I got to work.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start this company called Black Fox. We're gonna do this, and end up, talking to somebody, telling them, sharing my goal and my vision, like God want me to do to the world. And the guy was like, "Hey, meet me at so and so. We're go at Ben's Chili Bowl in DC, and I got some people maybe you can talk to." Went down there. I had like $36 to my name at the time. Went down there and was like, "Hey, this is me. This is what I'm doing. I got a family." And a guy was like, "Hey, I got this contract. You want to sub on it? It's yours. It's $30,000 contract for 1 month." And I'm like, I ain't never in my life made $30,000 1 month. I bet I'll do it. So I did the contract. About 3 weeks in, I didn't have to show up to the agency's site, but I volunteered to do it. So I'm down there. I'm working with the customer.
What's the job?
The job was to do continuity of operations planning. It's something I had went to college for.
Okay.
So I was doing that. I'm in their systems and doing planning and making recommendations. And they liked me so much, they were like, "Well, we got another office over here that needs the same thing." And I went to the guy, was like, "Hey, they said they got another opportunity." Now, of course, he's making a good money. He's doing what I'm doing now, right? But I'm like, "Hey, fine, I'll use you as a vehicle." And they were like, "Well, we got a $60,000 contract for 1 month." I'm like, $60,000 for 1 month?
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do both. So then got that contract rolling, doing some good work, started talking to other people. Another guy was like, "Hey, I got this $10 million contract. I got to give 10% to a minority business enterprise. I know that you said that you are certified with that program. Would you like 10%? I'm like, wait a minute, I know my math ain't mathing right now.
Right.
I'm like, 10% is $1 million. I ain't never seen that before. I was like, yeah, send me over the contract and everything. So within a span of 6 months, I done went from $36 in my pocket to $1.2 million.
Okay, so listen, we got to back up just a little bit. Okay, I want to go to that very first contract that you got, the $30,000 for the month. Did that require just you to perform the duty, or did you need to find people to execute whatever that $30,000 budget was?
So here was my strategy, right? Because I had never done government contracting before, but I just did it when I was in the military. I was on the other side, but here I wanted to basically educate myself for that month. So I could have hired somebody to help me do the work, but I just self-performed.
Got it.
Yep, I self-perform. And it wasn't even about I want to keep all the money to myself.
Right.
I just wanted to make a really good impression on the customer.
Yes, and you knew that you could get the job done with
exactly,
excellence,
right? So it was still like a 9-to-5 job. I just showed up, but I was just billing at a higher rate than what I was being paid as an employee, which turned out to be good for me because I learned a lot in that couple months of how to interact with the customer, how to invoice, how to do this, how to market, how to get into other doors. And then when I got the 1.2 million, then that's when I started hiring additional people to come on and do work for me.
Got you. So when it comes to government contracting, did they ever ask for your degree, or did they ever ask to see proof that you've done this before of your experience or anything like that?
No, they never did.
Okay, so everybody listening, okay, I need you to hear right now. Okay, do I need a high school diploma?
The government is contracting with your company, not you as a person.
Well, look at that. Okay, so that means that you don't necessarily have to have all of the education. You can jump right on in as long as you can perform the duty. Is that what you're telling me?
3 things you don't need.
Okay.
You don't need experience.
Okay.
You don't need credit.
Okay.
And you don't need money.
Okay, so listen. Okay, now I need to know some things. All right, so we started talking about this, and when I look at the whole scope of government, there are so many different jobs and so many different needs within the full infrastructure of the government. So, is there one specific area, since this is your area of expertise, is there a specific area that has a high need right now that we could be looking into getting into? Because I don't know about y'all, but
Well-
I'm trying to find out more about this government contracting, okay?
Well. The thing about it is that every government agency has a need.
Okay.
Right. Every government. So the science of it all, and you know what? I'm gonna teach a class at Yale on this.
That's right.
Okay? The psychology and the science behind it all is that people are so afraid of the word government that they shy away from it. Okay?
Right.
But the government works like this, right? You have the United States of America, or let me bring it back, right? Inside your home, your personal home, what do you have, right? It's you, your husband, and your kids, okay? You are the end users of it all. But around you, what do you need, right? You need the house, you need the walls, you need the roof, you need HVAC, you need plumbing, you need electricity, you need food, you need floors, you need beds, right? Need in order for you to have a what? A healthy home. So a government agency is broken down into the same structure, except each home in the government agency has a different mission. So the Department of Education, right? Without you even going to their website, what is their mission? Their mission is to govern the educational needs of the end user, which is the citizens of the United States of America.
Yeah.
So from a federal standpoint, they govern all the different levels. That's why every level you have an agency. The federal level, Department of Education. The state level,
Yep.
you have a Department of Education. Your county, you have the Board of Education, right? Their job is to govern the resources for the end user. So once you figure that out, now you know, okay, wow, whatever I do, whatever my niche or my strength is, I actually can package it up and support the government agency. So my psychology is that I never look at it as in what can I get from the government agency. My goal is how can I support their mission?
Oh, I love
Okay?
that.
How can I support their mission, but at the same time, those program managers, how can I make them look like the hero? It's not about me because they're the ones who have the needs. They're the ones who need my services to make them look good to their bosses and everybody else. So how can I make them into the hero to where I'm their go-to? I'm pretty sure you have a hairstylist, right?
Yes.
How long have you been going to your hairstylist?
Oh, the one I have now since I moved here, so maybe like a year.
A year? Consistently, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she takes care of my hair, and she's an expert at natural hair care, and her prices, they're very much manageable. So those are and I like her.
Exactly. Nail tech.
Yeah.
Get your nails done, right?
Yes.
Same one, right?
Yeah, and they're expensive, but they do a good job.
There you go.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, on their side, they've done such a good job that they've had you as a consistent customer.
Yes.
Because they're doing something from you from an emotional intelligence standpoint by giving you that customer experience.
Absolutely.
So every agency has the same makeup to where they're like, no, listen, we need X, Y, and Z. They award you the contract. You do a great job. They're going to always be like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? I mean, I got a guy right now in my house to where he's not in my house right now, but he comes and does all my construction work. Because he's done such a great job. Hey, can you come do this? Can you do that? That's how the government is because they need to support their mission to the American public, but they also need you as a private industry partner to make it happen.
Now, my question for you in regards to that, because I know now you're at a level where you're more of like the overseer, you're like in the overarching area of government contracting. So you want to give the end user this amazing experience of excellence through whatever it is that they need to feel, right? But how do you know that the companies that you're contracting with are going to provide such a great service? Because you work in so many different areas. It's not like you just do like, I don't know, construction or you just do the pens and the paper. Like, you kind of do all of it. So how do you know that the company that you're contracting with is going to give a great experience? And have you ever dealt with one that hasn't?
So are you talking about from like me subbing out
Yes.
the work to people?
Yes.
So a lot of the stuff is about 51% done in-house on our end. So we got the infrastructure in Black Fox, like, hellified employees in that thing. So, but when we sub out to other different companies, right, it's like a job, right? When you hire somebody to do a job, you base it off of what? Okay. First line of defense, their resume. Then I'm going to do a job interview, right? I know when people are BSing me.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I know when people are serious or not. So when they come in and we're doing an evaluation process, we're like, cool, but we're going to kind of give you probably a few different contracts that are low grade.
Got you.
As an evaluation process to see are you who you say you are.
Yeah.
Now, from a products perspective, that's a very simplified process to do because you can just partner with a manufacturer, wholesaler, and then just have them kind of directly ship the products to the customer without you even having to even touch the inventory. You're just kind of like I don't like to say the middleman. You're the reseller or the retailer to the government. That makes sense. Okay. Because Walmart's, they're a retailer. All these retail stores, what is the Foot Locker? All of them are retail stores. They don't make the Nikes, but they retail it to the public. So you're kind of like in that gray sweat area. Okay. Gray area to where you can capitalize by reselling a manufactured product.
Okay, got you. So you do have like a trial period before you give someone such a big contract, unless it is like a big company that like they supply chain. This is what they do. Then you just contract.
Yeah, reputable companies. Yeah, but like if we're bringing on a partner, or whatever. So I actually have. It's so funny you say this. So I actually created a incubator. Right, it's called GovCon Blueprint. To where we actually train people from zero to winning your first contract. Yeah. And now I know because we have a partnership program as well. So now I know you come through this incubator, you come through the training, you get everything you need. When it comes for you being my subcontractor, I know step by step you have what? You got all the information and resources you need, and I trust you because we have NDAs in place and teaming agreements and all these other different things. So I really don't have to go outside of the community as much as people think. I actually pull from my own community because I know that they got the right information to be able to execute.
I love that. So you pour all the experience, all the gems, everything that you've learned into a community. So then they can not only make money and start to begin their own legacy, but then you're able to expound on yours.
That's 1,000,000%. Yeah. But I can't take credit for it. I just pay attention. Once again, how my brain is that I just pay attention, right? So I noticed one thing, right? We're in Atlanta, Georgia right now, okay? And here you have what? Coca-Cola, right? It was the major one. Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, Home Depot, right? Where do you think they get their talent from? The universities here. Mm-hmm. So you got the primary one is what? Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
If you notice, Coca-Cola's right there.
Yep.
And Georgia Tech is right across the street.
Yeah.
And they have programs to where interns can come, they learn the systems, and then once they graduate college, they come and work for Coca-Cola. So I said, how can I create my own educational incubator to be able to get people to get the right information, but also when you partner, I don't have any questions. I'm not going, oh, you should have did this, you should have did that. No. You have all the education, the resources, the tools that you need that I know that you have to have this into a smooth transitional process to be a partner.
I love this. Okay, listen. We're having a great conversation here. We're going to take a quick break on behalf of Native Collective, and we'll be right back with Legacy Blueprint Podcast.
Hey there, it's your girl E. If you're anything like me, you're probably tired of searching for one place that truly identifies the cultural diversity in the melting pot that is Los Angeles. Well, I've got some really good news for you. I'd like to introduce you to Native Collective, the hottest, most exclusive private membership club that's about to change the game.
Hey, I'm Win Sardin, and I'm excited to be a part of Native Collective Digital Membership Waitlist, where I'm tapping into a range of resources and connecting with professionals. This platform is proven beneficial in helping me stay organized and maintain a proactive approach as I continue to make a leading impact in the community. The diverse tools and support provided by Native Collective has enhanced my efforts and effectiveness. So make sure you check them out.
Welcome back to Legacy Blueprint Podcast, powered by Native Collective. We are having a very insightful conversation with Fox Wade. He is getting us together, okay? We are learning that any one of us can be in government contracting, no matter what your area of skill set is, no matter what you are currently doing. There is a need that needs to be filled. And Fox Wade is telling us all about how we can get our money together, okay? And then we also can pour into the community, which I think is such an amazing skill, is such an amazing need. And I'm so excited that you are sharing this with us. Listen, we are getting all the gems, okay? And he does have a course where there are real coins for this, all right? But we are getting blessed right now. All right. So I want to jump right into it. I want to know, okay, I've heard all that you had to say regarding how government contract kind of works. So if I am 100% green and today I decide I want to do government contracting, what would be my first step?
First step is I always tell people you need to do something called a SWOT analysis. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. I always tell people only focus on your strengths, right? Still write down your weaknesses. So you write down your top 10 strengths because that's what's going to allow for you to be able to get into the space and understand how you are, right? And then there's weaknesses to where it's like, listen, I'm weak at time management. I'm weak at X, Y, and Z, right? So now you know as you grow your company, you hire those people that can facilitate your weaknesses. But the opportunities part is, what is your educational background? What do you like to do? What is something that you're good at? So that way you can kind of determine who you want to be able to support. Because they call it doing business with the government, but I call it how you're going to support the government in their mission.
Yeah.
So get that foundational piece set. So you do a SWOT analysis. Then you go into launching your company, registering your business, getting your EIN, the foundational stuff of having a business, right? But now we got to focus on a business plan, right? Like what agencies need what I'm selling. Okay, so let's say I'm good at cleaning houses, right? I've been cleaning houses, or I'm good at cleaning my own damn house.
Yeah.
Right? Now I got to look at it and say, every government agency, for the most part, need what? They need, at the end of the night, the floors mopped, swept, trash taken out. So every facility of business need their facility clean. Yeah. Now I can look at that agency, go to their website, and see what contracts they have associated with janitorial services.
So there's just a website right now that we can go on and we will be able to find what needs the government has.
A lot. And I'll explain to that, I'll break that down here in the bioscience here shortly.
Okay.
Same thing if you cut grass or, just take a step back and look at a government agency and say, what do they need? They need everything. They need people. They need everything. So getting started, understanding your business plan, how you're going to target and attack. And I know that's so hard for people to develop a business plan, but you have to. And it don't have to be 5 pages. Just a 1-pager. Just say, here's my company, right? These are the products and services we want to provide. Here's who we're going to target. And the goal is for this first year, how much money we want to make. That's the driving factor of being a successful business owner. So now that you have that established, now you can go to, it's like a job site, right? When you're looking for a job, where do you go? Indeed, Monster. They got the same thing for contracting opportunities. So on the federal level, you have the System for Award Management, which is called SAM.gov. You got FedConnect.net. You have Unison Global. You have a list of those. But for me, I mentor and guide people, not just federal, but we're looking at all levels of government: federal, state, local, county, city, municipality, village, you name it. And then there's quasi-government, to where there's government agencies that don't have a jurisdiction. So here in Atlanta, we have MARTA, right? Okay. But MARTA spans across Fulton County, other different cities in Fulton County. So they're funded by the people who pay a toll to be able to use that service. So they don't really belong to anybody. They're their kind of own independent agency. So what we call them quasi-government. So they have contracting opportunities as well, the same type of needs. So that is a good foundational way to get into the world of government, is to understand your strengths,
Yeah.
get a business plan, and then now you're able to figure out who needs your services.
Okay. So with that, if I find that, let's say education, right? I was an educator for 14 years, so that is an area of expertise for me. I know that on federal, state, local, on every level, there are needs. When I'm starting out, it's just me. So should I be looking for something that only I can feel before I try to find something that requires others to also be a part? Because I think that's like the biggest thing for people, right? It's like there are certain things that I can do with my own hands, but when you start to expand and start to, become bigger or take bigger contracts, it's going to require other people. And just knowing where to find those people, how to find those people, because yes, you have a farming system, but for the average Joe, they may not have that. How would you go about approaching a contract in the very beginning stage? Should you look for something that only you can do? Or if I did look at something that was a bigger contract, where do I find the people?
Got you. So I'm going to break down the psychology again of it all, right? So when you are an individual with no kids, right, you're by yourself, you're a single woman, right, and you're like, no, I want to expand my family, right? What do? You go get a husband, okay? You have children, right? From being single by yourself is different than having that family, right? You understand that, whoa, I got these kids, I need additional resources, I may have to put them in daycare, I got to get all this stuff, right? The same psychology when you have a business, right? Even though you may find opportunities to where they're just too big of scale for you, right? But they're pieces of that contract. You like, listen, there's 6 tasks on here, but I know I can do task 3. Like, that's my core, that's my background. Yeah. What you do is that you can find a more mature company or a larger company and say, hey, I found an opportunity. I know you can do some of this work, but I know I can do task 3. Can we partner?
That's
so
good.
now you don't lose out on an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? And now they're, taking care of the whole entire contract, but they're breaking it down to, okay, well, your company is going to do task 3, right? When you build a house or you see a house getting built, right, you have what? A general contractor, and then you have all these other specialty contractors, right?
Yeah.
The GC is not doing the plumbing, right? They're not licensed. But what do? They go find a company that's licensed to do it, and that company handles the license. This company handles electricity. This company handles the HVAC piece. So in government contracting, it's the same. You don't have to do it by yourself because large-scale contracts, it's just out of my scope. Yeah. But I'm a find other companies that can do it, but I'm going to tell them that I can do this. That's how you can put a lot of coins in your pocket as well.
Yeah.
On the other side, if the scope is like, no, I can do all of this. This is me. This is 100% me. Yeah, you go to it. The psychology of it all is that everybody has been in a space of being a business owner being able to respond to an opportunity, like a business, like a proposal. You've been doing it your whole life. You just don't, the psychology of it all is not there. When you go after a job opportunity, what document do you have to create in order to go after that job?
Yeah.
It's called a resume.
Absolutely.
Right? People will sit there and fill out their whole resume. This is me. This is my name. This is where I live at. This is what I'm all about. Here's my experience, my education. The same thing with proposing your company services to that opportunity is, here's my company. Here's the experience, because you are the company. You can use your own personal experience. Here's the experience of the company, right? This is how much we charge. This is who we've done it before. And now you pitch to that government agency.
So how do you know how much to charge? Like, I think that's
Biggest
just
thing.
Across the board with any part of entrepreneurship. Like, you know that you have this service, you know that it's needed, but just wanting to make sure you win the contract, making sure that you get the consumer to, buy your product. Figuring out pricing is always a huge, task.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
So tell us why.
I always got to break down the psychology again to the personal life, right?
Okay.
When you want a house and you want a car, do you just go, I want this house? Offer letter, I want this house right now?
Right.
I want this car. What do? before you even make that decision.
Yeah.
You're like, how much is this going to cost me? Okay. The mortgage is this. The water bill is going to be estimated that, right? It's like you break it all down before you're able to say, okay, I can afford this house. I can afford this car. I can afford this vacation. With business, business is the same. The first question you got to ask yourself is, how much is this going to cost me to support you? Right? What is this going to cost me to support you, right? I got to travel. I have to build materials, right? I'm going to be there, which is my hourly rate for me to show up, right? So you got to break down the whole entire pricing of how much is this going to cost me to support you, right? Yeah. So let's say let's say that the government is saying the government has a budget of $100,000. You don't know this yet, but you're going through it. The government has a need, and you're like, okay, all right. In order for me to deliver them X, Y, and Z, it's going to cost this much, right? Materials, whatever, right? It's going to cost me $50,000 to get it done. And I'm like, all right, $50,000, but I'm a project manager. That's an additional fee. I need to tack on a certain percentage. So when it's all said and done, it's going to cost me $50,000 to get it done. But from a capitalistic standpoint, I'm going to charge the government $75,000. Okay. You've done this before a lot of times. I'm pretty sure you have. Most people do this because it's like, no, you got to break it down. How much is it going to cost me to support you? It's scary. I do have a course that I did create out of my own head to break it all down and make sure people are profitable. You'll be amazed how many people who've come that I mentored who have walked away with $200,000 cash profit by just, understanding their pricing framework.
Yeah, I love that. And can you tell us what that is and where we can find that? I'm telling you, because we all want to know, seriously, because this is something that before walking into this conversation, I thought maybe because I knew that you were a veteran, I knew that you had military experience. I was like, oh, maybe that's why you got into government contracting, because like they got an open door for veterans, or they got an open door for people that have served this country. But I'm finding out that it's something that's accessible to all of us. So if we want to find out more information just in regards to that specifically, where can we find that?
You can go to win.govconblueprint.com. That's win.govcon, blueprint.com. You can follow me on Instagram. I drop a lot of free information on Instagram just for, giving back to the community, whatever. But you can follow me at Fox_Wade. I do have a YouTube channel that's being revitalized as we speak, to where I'm going to be dropping some more free stuff on there, but I also have courses, a mentorship program, because I do have a community that I like to nurture people and grow people in order to exceed my level of success, in the near future. That's where you can get a lot of stuff. I even have a free ebook that I give out as well. I mean, sometimes I'll just be up late at night and I'm like, let me just create this because it's on my brain. So I'm like, if I do a brain dump, it's kind of like me sharing my diary with the world. Yeah. To be like, all right, this is on my brain. I'll dump it into an ebook right quick and just sharing it. And a lot of people have had a lot of success by just going off of the free information that I provide. Absolutely. We love free. Okay, we're here for the free 99. So yeah, I definitely think that, just from having this conversation with you regarding government contracting, like it really does like make me very intrigued and very interested on how I can use my skill set to give back though. Like even though it's lucrative, it's also a way to give back your skill set to help improve the greater good. So I just think that that's a double whammy. That's awesome. Now, we've learned a lot about you as the businessman, the legacy builder, but I do know that you're also a father and a husband. And so I want to know a little bit about, because I know from what you're saying, your job can potentially consume a lot of your time. So how do you find balance? I don't even look for it anymore. Okay. I've learned that there's no such thing as balance as an entrepreneur, especially a serial entrepreneur, business owner, father. There's no such thing as balance. I've given up on balance. But there is a thing called time management, right? And there's a thing, and one of the things that I've learned over the past year is the word no.
Yeah.
Okay. If it doesn't serve me in a capacity to where it's going to help me grow, and I'm not trying to say that in a selfish way, but I'm like, no, I can't do that. Balance, when you got kids and a wife, everything is unpredictable, right? You can't control everything, but you can react or be proactive to things to where it doesn't completely throw you off. You know, I think yesterday, I had a crazy day yesterday to where my twin daughters had basketball, my son had a project, and I had to do like a webinar at the same time. And I sat there at my desk and I was like, you know what? You're going to make it happen. I jumped off a call. I'm like, all right, we got to go 30 minutes, go get the basketball. And I'm like, I'm ordering food while I'm at basketball, like
Yeah.
have food delivered to the house. So it wasn't about I need balance. I just needed to figure out how to utilize my resources so that way the kids don't see the chaos in what's pursuing. They think it's a
Yeah.
regular day, like, oh, we got basketball. Oh, there's dinner at home and everything's set. Not understanding that I went from waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to the end of the day going, I just finished a webinar and there's 500 people in this webinar. You know, it's like, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what happened? You know, so no, the balance don't even matter no more.
Yeah. So because you have so many different things going on, I'm sure time, like you said, time management is huge. So do you actually participate in a lot of scrolling, or are you just a poster? Because I know that you post a lot. You have a lot of social media and you're engaged. So do you consume a lot of social media? Because I've learned that that can be a huge distraction to a lot of
Yep.
people. And so because your time is so valuable, how much do you consume in things like social media, TV, anything like that?
The only thing I watch on TV is
Okay.
basketball, football. I watch some other different sports. I watch what is it called? Unexplained. It's called like the paranormal unexplained. That's one of my
Okay.
things too, and I'll go into why I watch that as well. But I don't watch like I may have my Netflix series from time to time when I really want to just uh, detach. I mean, what do you say?
Decompress.
Decompress, and I just want to just do mindless things. But outside of that, you know, I don't have like a. I like to go to the gym. I like to eat right. I like to consume healthy things, whether it's looking at something, hearing something, eating something, you know, being around the right people, read books. I just know that, you know, time is limited when you're on earth. So I got to manage my time very wisely, spend time with the kids. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really it. You know, I just try to stay away from anything negative and just always stay in a good, positive light.
That's awesome. Here at Native Collective, mental health is very important to us. And I know that you mentioned that you are a veteran, that you had a few deployments overseas in real, combat and things like that. And we hear a lot about PTSD and its effect on our military. And so, did you at all suffer with PTSD or have a challenge? I hate
Yeah.
to say suffer, but have a challenge of PTSD. And if so, did you go to therapy,
Oh,
or
yeah.
how have you kind of navigated that?
So there's two disorders that I have been diagnosed with, right? The one that I don't really talk about a whole lot, but I've been able to navigate it and use it as a superpower. It's very fascinating how it is. So PTSD, most definitely have PTSD, but PTSD, I always look at things on the positive side, not the negative side, because PTSD could probably drive you. That's why you see people drinking and smoking because they haven't learned how to balance it out. So
Yeah.
going to therapy and trying to figure out how to utilize it, I've used PTSD as my risk management factor, right? So like being prepared, always having the cars filled with gas and having things that the doors are locked and all that stuff. It's not that I'm just like paranoid. It's just my PTSD. Like, here's some things that could potentially happen. How do you mitigate it from happening, right? Good example is that, some of my neighbors, and I live in a decent neighborhood, they were like, their stuff got stolen out their car one night. Now, I keep my cars in the garage. I don't leave anything out. But just by having that attitude of, I got a garage, I'm going to keep my cars in the garage because that's going to mitigate anybody looking at it. Oh, that's an Audi A7.
Yeah.
They definitely got something in here. Nope.
Yeah.
So on the positive end, I've been able to use PTSD as something that's kept me prepared, if that makes sense.
I love
Not
that.
paranoid,
Yeah.
but prepared.
I love it.
Which it helps out a whole lot. Even planning to come here, I was able to go. Okay, I know I got a tight schedule. Let me take 30 minutes, figure out what I want to wear, and it just keeps you prepared for the next thing. Now, the other disorder is that I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. Something that
What is that?
that's when you have multiple personalities. So, which is very common. It's just you got a lot of people out here just they don't like to claim it, which is okay with me. So going from childhood, abuse all the way up into things I seen in the middle, just a whole lot of chaos in my life, right? Not understanding about why I was making certain decisions, and some people will call it other different things like you're this or that. But going to therapy helped me understand that. I'm like, I don't know how I'm able to be multilingual. I speak Indonesian fluently. I speak Tagalog. I speak Spanish. I'm understanding French to where I'm like, how do my brain have the capacity to have this and to be able to manage family and to be able to manage multiple companies?
Yeah.
Keep yourself. So by navigating it, now I know that this personality has to be fed this. This personality has to be fed that. And I've been able to turn it into a superpower to be able to max my brain out to be able to do certain things. So that's why I say I'm on the positive spectrum of these disorders versus the negative side. And I have a son with Asperger's, so it helped me understand that he's brilliant.
Yes.
He's smart.
Yes.
But he lacks the social capacity. But I'm like, I need to learn more about these things because it helps me understand the world a little bit better. Plus, I've been able to capitalize off of mine as well.
Yeah. So before going to therapy, and finding out that that you were navigating these multiple personalities, how was it for you navigating, like just being who you are on so many levels? And has that evolved? Like, were you always like this? Were you very intentional with your time just as a person naturally? Or is that something that you've evolved into just throughout time and wisdom
It's
and experience?
both. The military helped me out to have that time management. I'm thankful for the military of what they kind of made the foundation of me was, because I didn't have parents like that growing up. So I had to figure out different things. So joining the military at 18 really, really helped me to, because I'm just a very energetic person, but I'm able to like scale it back to be able to put that energy in certain different things. But going to therapy helped me understand that, especially when you're dealing with DID, is that you're one person, but you're in a car and you just got these four people in the car. And sometime you got a driver and you got passengers, but sometime the person in the back seat like, hey, listen, I want to have a good time. I want to drive too. So sometime it can be like a hostile takeover. But when you go through therapy and learn how to navigate and shift it, you're like, okay, we're going to do a timeshare to where I know you like to go to the gym. Now, the person you talk to right now, I don't like to go to the gym like that.
Yeah.
But this one loves to go to the gym, wake up in the morning, go running and working out and eating healthy. And I'm like, I just want a cheeseburger. So, but it's like a partnership to be like, okay, all right, you like this, we're going to do a timeshare to be able to navigate it. You like to sit down and read books. You like to learn this. You can digest, because, I have people that work for me that are in Indonesia. So I'm talking to them on a meeting, whatever, and they're looking at me and they're going, you talk better than us. But then when I get off the meeting, I'm like, oh, my head hurt, my brain hurt. And I can't think of a single word because I've transitioned over to the next person to do the next thing, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I see how it works to your benefit when it comes to business and when it comes to navigating relationships in that way. How does it apply to your emotional state? Like, do you have like a lot of high highs and low lows, or have you found a way to kind of navigate it emotionally?
Yeah, before it used to be all over the place, because when you're young, you don't really know what's going on. You're just thinking like what the hell is going on? Like, I'm doing this. Like, there would be some times to where I was like, people would tell me stuff and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they would say, especially relationships, they're like, oh, you're lying to me, lying. I'm like, I say, I promise you, I don't remember what you're talking about. once again, that's that hostile takeover, right?
Yeah.
So then when you learn how to pull it back and, you have agreements, now you're like, oh yeah, it's like, I remember that. But, the highs are really good because the highs take you on adventures and I'm talking about from a positive perspective because, some people on the high is on the negative side.
Right.
But it's like, oh, you've always wanted to travel to X, Y, and Z. All right, cool. Well, listen, you're good at business. I need for you to make us more money so that way we can go on this trip, or I need for you to figure out how we can go on that trip for free or get this.
Yeah.
So it's like a partnership. You're working, and now you're like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Because I'm headed to Germany next week,
Okay.
for a conference, whatever, but I'm speaking at it. But if it wasn't for that side of my brain to be like, how can we go there but not pay for it? So I was able to find a step grant and different other things to where it's a $25,000 trip that I don't have to come out of my pocket for, that's being fully funded by the government.
Wow.
Right? So now I get to get the personal experience, the
Yeah.
high, but I also get to be on the business spectrum while I'm there as well and build the business.
Wow. So do you refer to DID as a disorder or a disability? Do you either one of those?
For me, I look at it as an advantage.
An advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is an advantage because, in the business world, you get to be one way.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you home, you get to be another way.
Yeah.
When you with the kids, you get to be another way. When you with the wife and you're doing intimate stuff, you get to be another way.
Yeah.
So you can use it as an advantage, and I believe that we all have some form of it.
I was just about to say, yeah, I
Right?
think we all kind of
Yeah.
operate in just depending on the environment,
Yeah.
who we're around,
Yeah.
what's going on.
Just think about your entertainers, right? You get on that
Absolutely.
stage, people be like, you was a whole different person up there.
Yes.
And then you get off, and what happened? You're like, ooh,
Exhausted.
I'm excited, I'm tired, right? Because you had to use that piece of your brain to
For
do
sure.
what? Deliver. And now you're like, oh my God, I just want to drink. I just want,
Yeah.
you've done that. So I think some people, they don't know how to navigate it and use it as an advantage versus, because when I see people who are drug addicts, right, and that's something that I want to get into, people who are addictive
Yeah.
to things. When you get addicted to something, that means that you're trying to do what? Suppress the brain
Absolutely.
to not think about something versus, no, I'm going to embrace this and I'm going to use this to build or educate or teach. So it's an advantage to me. I mean, to some people it could be a negative thing, but not to me.
Yeah. So since you have all these different unique characteristics that make you, interests and just ways of just expounding the full version of yourself, do you share a lot of those things with your kids? Like, are you
Yeah,
teaching them
most
different
definitely.
languages or
Most
like different
definitely.
skill sets, things like that?
Most definitely. And I think that's what makes my family interesting today because I'm able to do that. I'm able to, in our house, when we eat dinner, it's like, all right, first 15 minutes, everybody got to speak Spanish.
I love that.
Right? It's all, it's
Yeah.
like, so now, because once they get out of the house, nobody's trying to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to do it. But here, at least they got something they can go, well, at least I can have a conversation with somebody in this language, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't see the value in it today. Or it's like, okay, 10 minutes a day, we all got to sit down on the couch and read books for 10. It's like you can do that to enhance your family. Some people, they just look at it as in, I have this thing, this disorder. It's negative. I think Asperger's is probably the most interesting
It is.
because you look at Elon Musk, you look
Yeah.
at all these successful people, they all got Asperger's.
Yeah, all of them.
But I love
Mark
it because
Zuckerberg, all of them.
they're so focused and they don't care about glitter and car. They're like, nope, I'm focused on this thing to create it, and they've changed the world.
Yeah.
Versus some people, they're like, I'm in it for the money.
Yeah.
So I can show out and show you what I got. And then at the end of the day, they go home and they're sad.
I love that though, because it's a misconception when you look at different diagnoses, when you look at whatever the world wants to call it, disorder or disability. That's why I asked you, and I look at it because I was a special education teacher for 14 years before I started hosting, that it's a superpower, and it truly is an advantage on
yeah.
so many levels that people would never ever, they would never assume that when just looking at it on the outside. side. But I love how you've been able to embrace it and you've been able to really expound on it in so many ways. It's such a beautiful story. I'm like, I never knew you in this way. Like, I know of you and we know each other, you know, but I just love this side of you. It's beautiful. I love it.
And it's hard, you know, it's hard to like socially talk with people sometimes because they'll be like, well, you just think that you just know it all. And I'm like, I'm around the wrong group of people because, you know, when I'm talking about stuff and I'm sharing information, some people do look at that like, oh, here you go again. And I'm like, no, this is stuff that can help you out.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That's something you didn't know. And it's just, but there are some people be like, listen, I'm calling you every day because I didn't know that. Or show me this or show me that. And they've really expand. Like, I have a friend right now, like he's about $750K in his consulting company. He was making $65K a year.
Wow.
And he was like, no, man, sit down with me and tell me the whole path, the blueprint.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, he's $750K. And I called him and I said, what are you doing? He said, man, I'm at home. I don't leave my house.
Yeah.
He said, my wife is happy. We got all this money coming in. I don't leave my house. I don't mess with nobody.
I love that. It's like you are the true definition of legacy blueprint, because one thing that I know about you personally, but you've also shared here on the podcast, is that you're willing to share this knowledge. Like, you want to see everybody win. It's not like, oh, I have this information and I'm just going to continue to build onto my legacy. Like, I'm actually going to pour into others so that you can start building your own. And I just think that is so awesome. At this point in time, do you even know how many mentees you have or how many people have come through your program?
I got 185 right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I keep it at a low number because, you know, span and control, whatever.
Yeah.
But what I do is that I allow for them to partner with my company, Black Fox. So a lot of them have contracts just by working with my company, Black Fox.
Wow.
Yeah, because that allows for them to come in as a sub, and then they get to see the full gamut of or make mistakes, but get corrected. So now when it's time for them to go to the next level and be a prime, I'll be their sub.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So we keep the full cycle of revenue coming in, whether I'm the prime or sub, but they're honored and grateful that somebody was willing to just hold their hand through the process.
Yeah. Okay, so listen, here at Legacy Blueprint, we have this one question that we ask all of our guests, and I'm very curious to find out what your response is. So, if today you won a $1 billion Powerball, what are you going to do with the money?
I think about this all the time too. I would take $250,000 of it, right? Definitely set it to the side, pump it into life insurance policies for the family. I would implant that money just for the family, just 25%. The other 75%, I would start multiple empires in different industries, using government contracting as well, right? I definitely would kick off a nonprofit, put cash into that, but also use government grants as well to be able to go to low-income cities. I've already got a map and a list of, I've done this, right? Like Gary, Indiana, Flint, Michigan, a whole bunch of places. And I would turn those economies around, meaning that I would either take one of my companies and make a headquarters there and start hiring people. I would partner with the local universities to get their education system up. I will really be an implant in these low-income, high-crime cities. And I know it won't be an immediate impact, but it'd be something that can get started. And I may not see it in my lifetime, but it'd be something to get them started to be able to change those areas. So I'm all about giving back.
Yeah.
But that is my plan, and I'm pretty sure I'll give away more money to other different HBCUs and everything else, because I truly want to see our people, and I have to say that I don't want to say our community, because honestly, we don't have a community. I think everybody else has that, but we don't have that just yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, letting them know that I didn't take the money and go buy a jet and a Ferrari and all this stuff, because they make those every year, right?
Yeah.
The manufacturing belt. But if I'm able to pump that financial resources back into the community, you know, maybe my great grandkids could be the ones who can lead the charge and make sure that it gets to where the intended goal is for it to be.
Wow. Wow. And I believe you. I believe you
I'm a
because
man of
you're
my word.
already doing so many of those things right now without even having the $1 billion Powerball. Like, this is just what you've used with your resources and your connections and your blueprint is all about that. So I love it. At the end of the day, um, what do you want what do you want Fox Wade's legacy to be?
I want 10 generations from now that when they sit around the table and they talk about how this got started, that they think about somebody who's willing to sacrifice, somebody who's willing to reverse engineer generational curses in this bloodline to start something that changed the course of the family's history. That is I may be in heaven somewhere looking down. Like, okay, I see y'all, but I want to be able to make sure that they knew somebody was willing to sacrifice. I mean, I could take whatever resources I have now and go build $1 million house and all this other stuff, but I know that it's going to affect those that I will never meet. And I want them to have that to be able to say, no, we are one of the American families, not just the Waltons or, the Candler families, but the Wade family is black, and they were willing to start this up to where we have infrastructure, because a lot of people don't know this, but the Candler family, which is our, not the creators, but the ones that bought Coca-Cola, they own everything in Atlanta. They own the Atlanta airport. They own Emory University. They own CDC. They own everything because that one man decided to do something that changed the course of their family's history.
Wow. I have to ask one more. I have to. I just want to know, because we've talked a lot about the wins. We've talked a lot about the things you've been able to accomplish, the things that you've been through. Can you talk a little bit about the sacrifices that you've had to make in order to achieve this?
A lot of sacrifice. I make sacrifices every day. I think God made me this way to be able to embrace all this pain, all this suffering, and to also to be able to keep my nostrils above water. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not completely submerged, but I got my nostrils above water in order to get some oxygen. Made a lot of sacrifices. I've been through a lot of relationships. I've lost kids. It's a lot, and I don't think that a normal mind could be able to embrace all of this. But if I keep my eyes on the intended goal and target, at the end of my lifespan, I can say it was all worth it.
Yeah.
Because my kids, and I look at them and how they are just, they don't know. Their life is like, wow. Their life is amazing. They're like, it's so funny. The other day, we're going to Cancun for Christmas, right? I was like, we don't do Christmas like that no more. We're going trips. So they're telling their neighbors, they're talking like, for Christmas, we're going to be in Cancun. Like, Dad got us a house, and we're going to have a chef, and we got a personal pool, and da-da-da. I'm looking at them like, y'all know how much this trip costs? Because we taking the whole family down there. But that's where I love to hear that is going to be their normal life moving forward, is that, we went to, like, look at my passport. We got all these stamps, and we did this, and my dad was there. Like, that is why everything is worth it.
Yeah, I love that. Fox, this was so good. It was so good to know you on such an intimate level, but as well as you just free game, sharing all of your business experience and knowledge with us. We really appreciate you. We want to thank you for coming through on the Legacy Blueprint podcast. Everybody, please be sure to follow at Fox Wade on all social media platforms. You won't regret it. You'll get a lot of who he really is on a day-to-day basis, as well as great business tips in regards to government contracting and just in general for the entrepreneurial journey. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. You do not want to miss it. We have a great lineup this season, and you want to be a part. So thank you all for joining us at Legacy Podcast. Thank you, Fox Wade, for coming through. We appreciate you all, and we will see you on our next episode.
And one more time, I want you to go in and say
Legacy Blueprint. That's the part I missed. Yep.
If you want to.
Yeah. Yep.
And just right there at the end.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you all again for joining us here on the Legacy Blueprint podcast, powered by the Native Collective. We enjoyed today's episode, and you do not want to miss the next episode, so be sure to subscribe and like right now, okay? And we'll see you back here on our next episode of Legacy Blueprint podcast.
You are now tuned into Native Collective.